Yes, people, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Really appreciate you guys coming back here again. Interested one. This is a very interested one. Going to talk about a clip. Yeah, a clip. The same interview that the president do, on Power 106 with Cliff Williams, where he talk about the back end of that interview, where he talk about player selection, who expect to join the team, in September, in terms of who is available for the September, and onwards. So he talk about Mason Greenwood, he talk about Rico Henry, he talk about Max Irons. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to drop the clip so you guys can listen to it. And matter of fact, this is what the president have said and Power 106 with Cliff Williams about the availability and what I've done with Mason Greenwood passport issue. It's finally done. And he came out again and he said what he have to say, and he have actually said this about Mason Greenwood and the rest of the players.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the coach's agenda. I can tell you that Greenwood now has his passport. There's a youngster who plays, I think, at Brentford called Rico Henry, I think. His document is being processed. There are two others, can't remember their names right now, that is under the coach's radar. Their documents have been submitted, but I can say that Rico Henry and Mason Greenwood, I mean, they are ready for selection. So it's up to the coach now, and of course, Max Aarons too is another name. I think Max Aarons is a fullback, and so to Rico Henry. And there's one other young player, I can't remember his name now, but there are four players that the coach definitely has an interest in.
So, we hear what the president office say around Mason Greenwood, Rico Henry, that these players are all available for the coach's selection, I guess, in the upcoming window. So, I guess September coming, Mason Greenwood is ready for September. It's down to the coaching staff, to select Mason Greenwood, and it depends now on his last say, knowing that his passport is finished, report by the president, when you don't need any more clarification from that. The president came out and said that himself, that it's all down to Mason to accept. Not just accept, but if the coach go on to select him, which I think the coach will go on and want to select Mason Greenwood. Why? Look, which coach will go on to coach any team that have their best player available at their disposal and don't want to pick them? So I guess he will be ready and prepared by the coaching staff, and on Greenwood terms, hopefully he can accept that term and be available for the game versus Bermuda and Trinidad and Tobago. So I mean, it's great news. I love to hear that. Mason is a world class player, is a world class talent. Someone that if it wasn't for his situation, it would be tough for him to be, on this side of the world, want to play international football. But then again, if you look at the player at this moment, really started out his preseason on a bang. If you look at the players that Marseille is adding to their pool, they're adding some great potential, and they're adding some serial killer to that squad to help Mason Greenwood. We saw the team played last season and it really needed, but for the World Cup qualifier, that will fill the stadium up for that Trinidad and Tobago game, our bitter rival, knowing that Mason Green homecoming probably September in the waiting. Yeah, probably in the September waiting, because I just cannot see these sets of coaching staff, including our newly technical advisor, don't want to have Mason Greenwood in his selection process. Knowing that he came on an interview and he said that the better players you have in the team, it's the easiest way to carry out a system. It's the easiest way, to play the football, and, to ask the players that set up a system to beat your opponent team. So I see Mason Greenwood select by the coaching staff coming in probably less than a month from now, because the month will finish soon. So probably less than 3 weeks, we will hear what will be the availability of Mason Greenwood, because I do think that the coaching staff will go ahead and select Mason Greenwood. What you guys think? That you think that the coaching staff will not go ahead and want to select Mason Greenwood in the national team? No. With the player available, with the president came out and said, it's all down to the coaches to select the player. Him having passport, the tax them ready, everything ready. Rico Henry are the next one, but I'm going to get to that as well. So it seems like, homecoming can be really, really soon for Mason Greenwood. Not just an ordinary game, but our first game in the final round. Yeah, our first game in the final round at home versus the Soca Warriors. No other than Trinidad and Tobago, our bitter rivals, our most harsh rival in the Caribbean. You know what I mean? Let's see what's going to happen. But probably, look, if Mason have a forward, don't expect nothing less than probably 25,000 in that stadium. Especially if we go ahead and demolish Bermuda in our first World Cup game, our first World Cup qualifier game. We'll go ahead and smash them, yeah, a pieces down in a Bermuda, and then fly up back for the next game in a few days versus Trinidad and Tobago. I think the JFF are gonna have an for sale ticket. The website probably crash because Mason Greenwood is at the hem. Yeah, if he come and he's at the hem, I mean, imagine if Mason Greenwood score, yeah, down at Bermuda, if him get called up and him accept the challenge and him score down there, and then a big look of hype around the team. We know it's World Cup qualifier, all of that, and that is behind the national team. JFF now have and for sale tickets. But moving on again, Rico Henry, again, a very good left back, but I'm not sure if this player is the same Rico Henry of what, he played, I think, before he got injured, 2022, 2023 season and beyond, where he had, some tremendous season for Brentford in the Premier League and also in the Championship. Wonderful player. I'm not sure if he's at that level, and I'm not going to say he's not at level, but I want to see the player play a lot more this season for Brentford. And also, what type of player will the Reggae Boy get when it's time for Rico Henry to make his debut? I mean, look, wonderful left back, have a very, very good engine, very good stamina, but I'm just in a little temperament where I'm going to take 2 steps back of what I saw from Rico Henry, a few years ago, where he was on top of his game. Now he's coming back. This season should be the season where Rico Henry break out again after the injury that he sustained a couple seasons back. So we're looking forward to see if the player can actually match that Rico Henry, the old Rico Henry that many reggaeboyz fans knowing what Rico Henry can provide on the football pitch. Very good left back. And look, if he's still at that level, he's better and he's a bigger step up than a Greg Lay and a Maribel. You understand? But coming off a long injury, let's see what the player who, I mean, he played a few games in the FA Cup last season, in the Premier League. He played, I think 45 minutes in their last preseason game that they played recently. I think it was yesterday as well. So the player is coming back, but this is his big season. Expect to make his debut soon on the international level, and also expect to return back to a full starting up the season with his parent club, Brentford. But again, in the last 2 seasons, this player have played just 11 games in the last 2 seasons. That's not enough. That's why I'm a little bit cautious on how I judge the player quality. His fitness, where is his fitness? Is that, look, fitness is one of the biggest problem in our national team. Yeah, fitness is one of the biggest problem in our national team. So now let's see what will happen in due course. But Max Arons, another player again, didn't really get enough minutes for Valencia in the La Liga. Didn't play enough football for Bournemouth in the last 2 Premier League that he was in the squad. Didn't play enough minutes. So again, very good player. Breakout season many years ago. For Norwich City. Yeah, after coming in and out of the Premier League. Breakout season. Once was a player that scouted. Bayern Munich was looking at him. Many top Premier League clubs, were looking at him. No, we saw him, fell down the pecking order of the talented right back that the England have produced over the last couple of years is numerous of right back they have produced that right back even a drop off of the tree of England right now and a waste. You understand them are ratting up of England right now. That's how much right back England have produced over the last couple of years. But again, fitness. This will be a big season for Max Arons. Yeah, this will be a big season. I know he played the other day versus Panathinaikos. He played the entire game for Panathinaikos in the UEFA Champions League qualification round for Rangers. They're looking to get back on their peak again, trying to hit their bitter rival Celtic off the perch of winning the last couple of Scottish Premier League. No, this will be a big season for Max Arons. I know he's on loan. I think his contract will up next season for Bournemouth. So let's see what can happen. It's World Cup year, but he's in a position at this moment where he should get game in inside out, week in and week, week in and week out for Rangers. So let's see if he will live up to that standard. And another player again that we only can refer to the qualities that we saw from this player a few years ago. So looking at it, we don't know what kind of Max Arons the Reggae Boy team will get in the near future whenever his docs are finished and his process and he's ready for selection. Again, very good player in his younger age. He's still not at that young age anymore, going closer to the 30 mark. But again, player that have very good potential in the past. Hopefully, those qualities are still there. Only need to get a little bit more game time where he actually can start to produce at the highest level of where he once was. So hopefully this step, playing for Rangers, hopefully they can play some type of football in Europe as well that will help him to play versus tougher opponent team because you know the level of competition already when you take out the Rangers Football Club and Celtic Football Club out of the Scottish Premiership. You understand? So let's see what's going to happen. But President Ricketts said that coming in the next window, Mason Greenwood will be available for the selection. It's all down to the coaching and the coaching staff, yeah, to select Mason Greenwood to come and play for the national team. And if he get the letter to come and play, will it be accepted by Mason Greenwood and his party? You understand? So that's where I leave it. Bless up on yourself. Thanks for passing through again. Really appreciate you guys coming on your way out. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But no, again, yeah, so I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to go there anymore. But again, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it, you guys. I'm out. Salute. And on your way out, remember to click that like button and smash the subscribe button if you haven't do so. I said, ciao, ciao, people. I'm out.